Hello and welcome back to the series where we try to conquer Pendor in 250 days. Now, we're currently in a battle against what could be considered probably the largest battle we've done so far on the field. Not sure if we've done something more in a siege, but anyway, this is us fighting against Sarlian once again. For some reason, they do seem to be very stubborn. I was attempting to take Harengoth Castle because I was already down there and I was thinking to myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to try it again, see if the three seers wanted to, whoever it was. I think it was the three seers before as well. But whatever the case, I wanted to see whether they would interrupt us again. And if they did, then, we could make... make some changes to what we decided to do there. Now, this is indeed over 800 opposing units. And they really... it's actually surprising that they wanted to do this, but I guess I should be maybe not so surprised, because, I mean, this is their last fief. You know, this is their last fief. It's extremely unlikely that they're going to just lie down, isn't it? So they're not just going to lie down and be like, oh yes, just take our final fief, No, they're not. They're obviously not going to do that. So we've already eliminated 90 of them. You just got to bear in mind that the only reason why we are even achieving anything close to any kind of success here is because of Al. No, it's not because of Al, but it is because of our tactics skill. Our tactics skill is making a huge difference. And the reason for that is because we decided to prioritize it. Tactics skill in these cases is, in my opinion, invaluable. Because if I didn't have tactics skill right now, I would probably have a battle advantage of, I don't know, -4, -5, maybe even more than that. Which would be really bad, because then we would have an army of about 50 to 60, maybe even less, on the battlefield of our own units, and the enemy would have close to 200. As it is, we are really even right now. We are really even, and we are not going to have any issues being able to defeat these guys. Or at the very least, we're going to be able to inflict quite a lot of damage, and we're not going to have as many casualties ourselves. I know that sounds a little bit strange, obviously, because, most of the time you'd think, oh, but you have less troops, for your troops to be killed and so on. So, if you have more people, it stands to reason that, some of them are more likely to be killed than if you had to have less people. But I'm mostly talking about offensive pressure here. The more units you have, the safer it is, technically, because you're, able to kill these higher tier troops just that much quicker. And that's generally the reasoning behind it, and that's the reason why I went for tactics skill. And it's actually quite funny, because I have always actually said that tactics skill is not very good, and the funny thing is, it is actually good. That's the hilarious thing. It is actually really good. It just depends on what kind of situation you're in at the time, because technically you don't always need it. It's not one of those things that you're always going to need. It is definitely a thing that is very situational. I'm going to be retreating right now, by the way, because I don't see a point in us just throwing ourselves into the lion's mouth, which is actually hilarious because they're all lion-based units and things like that. But yeah, we're not going to throw ourselves into their jaws and just completely, get ourselves murdered. So we're going to just, restart this. But yeah, anyway, tactics skill, very useful, especially in this situation. And there we have it. I did actually manage to get myself killed, because there was a Ranger of the Clarion Call and he decided to headshot me. But we did get 81 renown for this, which is pretty nice. And now we're going to have to go back on in for the final round. Okay, so we did actually end up winning against such a significant force of Sarlian vassals. Now, this is a... I wouldn't say... okay, fine. I wouldn't call it a waste of time. However, that's only because the time doesn't actually run when we are in a battle. If the time was running when we were in a battle, I probably would have just, killed 20, 30 units and then just retreated and, tried to go somewhere else. But as it stands, it's absolutely fine. So we're just going to let these guys go for the most part. Most of them, we are just going to go, goodbye. I'm going to let King Ulrich go as well, even though he does have a unique, I think it's a lance or something like that he has as a unique weapon. I'm not really a big fan of lancers with this particular character, so I'm just going to be leaving that. I have been attempting to sell quite a few of my things in my inventory here, and that's the reason why you're seeing me with a little bit more dinars here, because I did actually have some stuff that could sell for about 5,000-6,000, and I had to go to multiple towns anyway, so I was like, okay, pretty cool. We've actually managed to take Harengoth Castle. It took me a long time, and it was kind of tedious, so didn't bother showing it. But generally, look at this. We actually freed Sir Rain. Hilariously enough, I'm not entirely sure when he even got taken prisoner. Alright, so we're now here in Yaviksholm. You may be thinking, oh, why are you in Yaviksholm? And I know. I was asking myself the same question, but this is purely because of the Fyrdsvain deciding that they wanted to take this. And as you can tell, we are now getting absolutely destroyed by their archers. But that's okay. We don't really have to worry about that too much, because we're just going to use the same strategy that we did last time. And funnily enough, I don't know why they were so accurate this time in comparison to before, when we didn't take any damage at all, because these guys were so incredibly inaccurate. But anyway, we're obviously going to be fine here. We just got to make sure that our forces move into position relatively quickly and make sure that they start bombarding the opponent with a massive amount of bolts. And hopefully I'm not going to die here either. It would be very nice if we could maintain our HP, because I am going to be making my way on to more Ravenstern fiefs as soon as possible. 27 renown for us, and we completely bombarded them to death, because of course that's what we want to do. Now we are going to let those guys go, and we're going to take the various loot, because you never know, maybe a nice a nice baggage train or something like that could be kind of useful, maybe. And what else do we have available here? Well, we got a couple of heretic worshippers. I'm already full up already. Wow, that is a little bit too quick. And we are now in Ravenstern territory. This is actually taking us into a battle against King Gregory. Hilariously enough, I'm not entirely sure what's even going on with these kings right now, but they seem to want to fight us almost all the time, which I have to admit, not really something I'm interested in right now. I'm mostly interested in besieging their stuff, but I guess that is actually kind of a means to an end, because if we're able to capture this, or, well, not capture this, if we're able to defeat this guy, we'll be able to capture the nearby town much, much easier. So it is a, well, it's one of those cases, isn't it? Yeah, it's one of those cases. Anyway, we're going to tell our cavalry and infantry to charge in, because we do have these guys coming around the side here. Whoa, that was a nice maneuver. That was a very, very nice maneuver from them there. And I gotta admit, very, very good way for them to play. That was actually surprisingly strategic. Usually they don't do that kind of stuff, so that is, yeah, kind of a bit of a worry to worry out for? To watch out for, I meant, thank you, yes. And indeed, that is actually going to be a kind of a devastating maneuver if they use that when they have a significant amount of cavalry. And I'm talking about good cavalry here, not the cavalry that they came at us with, but if they have a vassal or two that has a significant amount of knighthood order cavalry units, I can imagine that this would be extremely devastating to us. And there we have it, 44 renown for us, not too bad. And yeah, he didn't have anything, basically. That's the funny part here. I'm actually wondering whether I should take him prisoner. You know what? I am actually going to take him prisoner right now, just purely because I want to prevent him from doing anything else. Alright, so we're going to have a small issue here. We are now going in to Ravenstern. Now, Ravenstern itself is going to be a little bit difficult, mostly because, well, we've got this small little door to go through first. Yes. this is a bit of an issue because, well, a lot of the Ravenstern are indeed very, very good at ranged combat. As you can tell, I'm getting absolutely massacred, and I'm holding my... Yeah. That's the funny thing. I'm holding my shield constantly. I was holding my shield button constantly, but nothing prevented me from having that issue. So, unfortunate for me, isn't it? Yes, unfortunate, but that's okay. That's okay, because what we can do is we can literally just tell our guys to hold position here. We're going to be separating them now. We're going to be putting my archers behind them. There we go. Put the archers behind them, like so, like that. And then we will hopefully be able to at least inflict a little bit of damage. Unfortunately for me, that I did get such incredible damage incoming in a very small amount of time. But yeah, anyway, let's actually take a quick look at what's going on here. So these guys actually, you know what? Do I just want to go in there? You know what? I am actually just going to go in there. We're going to charge. We're just going to charge straight up there right now. And I think this could actually be a really, really good move. Because if we get in there and we get really close to the Ravenstern Rangers, they're not really going to be able to do that much. They're not very... I mean, they're pretty good in melee, don't get me wrong. They're pretty good in melee, but they're not as good as you might expect. And so, you know, a lot of our cavalry, they're probably going to be much better than the opponent in melee combat. And so as a result, they're maybe going to be able to pull out a little bit of an extra victory here, a couple of 100 extra casualties. The funny thing about this particular siege, though, is we're going to need to kill 800 enemies unless we can expend all of their reinforcement waves, which is going to be difficult anyway. Alright, so I actually decided to go and completely confirm, just commit to the entire siege. Now, we have ended up losing around 30 troops to the Grim Reaper himself, which is obviously not very good. You know, let's face it, you know, that's not very good. We don't want to lose 30 troops every single time we go in to any siege. However, I think in this case, this was 100% worth it, because otherwise I would have had to have fought every single enemy in the garrison. But on the flip side of that, we ended up losing so many more, because here's the thing. These are the two options. We basically commit, and we hope that we don't have to fight every single opponent in the garrison, and then we end up losing so many more troops. Or we don't commit, and we do the standard formation where we, you know, have our archers in the courtyard, and we kill, 100 to 150 troops, and then we decide, okay, we're going to retreat now. And then you just basically do that, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, and you do that like, I don't know, 8 times or something like that. And then all 800 will be dead, and you will have lost very few units in that case. However, as I've done it right now, I did end up losing huge amounts of troops, as you can see right here, and we, well, eliminated a load of people, but the question is it worth it? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. It's very much dependent on a variety of factors, whether we think that we're going to need those troops going forward, because, I mean, let's face it, it's probably going to be required, isn't it? You know, I think in general it is going to be required, because we are needing to take another 2 towns after this, and I'm just hopeful that they will not have as many people, because Ravenstern, I think, is the capital, right? I think it is the capital of the faction, and if it is, then that is, pretty clearly the reason why it is so well defended. Adonia got herself killed. Okay, that's not exactly good, but I suppose it's going to be fine. But yeah, this is the reason why sometimes taking a little bit slower is a good idea, but then you've also got to think about the time limit, because we are... we're getting on there, we're getting on there. It is not a foregone conclusion that we're going to be able to make this. I am actually on, on time for my estimate My estimate, if you recall, about 10 episodes ago was day 105, or not 105, day 205 to day 210 or something like that. I actually estimated that due to me basically approximating how many days it would take me to eliminate each and every faction if we were able to do that. And it does seem as though that tracks at the moment. It does seem as though that is actually maybe doable. It depends, obviously. Very much depends on a variety of factors. But again, just very much, I don't know. It depends on how we do in the next couple of town sieges. If we're able to do relatively well, then we're going to have a great time. If we don't do well, then we might have some issues. But as you can see, we do have some pretty cool units here. And yeah, actually some pretty good stuff. We got some Storm Sisters here as well. We have Radiant Born Knight. We got some of these guys. I don't really want to take those, to be honest. We can take these, I suppose, as well. We can take some Fierdsvain Huskars. Jatu Raiders. Generally, I would have preferred much better troops, but I mean, you can't really do much about that. You know, you can't really go, oh yes, actually, I would like better troops, please. No, you can't really do that, obviously. So, yeah, a little bit of a problem here. I guess I will take the Sentinels. They're pretty decent, and I will take some of these Vekavi companions as well. Okay, so Rain is actually a siege tower. If you can believe it, Rain is a siege tower. Yeah, and this is where I am right now, because obviously I am indeed taking 36 hours to build this blasted thing. And I am not actually very pleased about that, as you can quite clearly tell. There are a large number of Ravenstone vassals very close by to us right now. And I'm a little worried that they're going to say hello very soon. And if they do, that is not great. Let's just say that. That is not great. We do not want that in any way. We would prefer that we be left alone completely here. And I don't really want to die here either. So we are going to... Oh no. This is a terrible place. This is an absolutely terrible place. As you can see right here, I'm being shot in the back all over the place right now. This is terrible. Okay, well, if I die, then I die. There isn't really much for me to do about that, but I really do not want to retreat if I can help it. This is gonna be a harsh one. This is gonna be an absolute harsh one. Ooh, okay, you know what we're gonna need to do? We're gonna need to do this and this, and spread out the archers a little bit here. And there we have it. Hopefully they're going to have slightly better efficiency this way. And me being in this corner, I don't think this is actually going to save me. Maybe if I go around the side here, this might save me. No. No. I can only hope that this bush just literally holds, holds their attention away from me or something like that. I don't know. But we can only hope. At the moment, we've killed 45. I think we are probably just going to do the same thing again like we did in Ravenstone. There are not that many people here in comparison to Ravenstone. There's only about 500 in comparison to almost 900. So, kind of have slightly better hope that there isn't going to be a significant amount of really high-tier troops here. As you can see, most of the people that are being eliminated right now are just Wardens, Rangers, a couple of Dragon Drakes, which are... fine units. They're okay, but they're not amazing. Oh, wow, that took so long. I gotta say, that really was extremely damaging. As you can see right here as well, we did lose 28. I actually have to say that I feel like the Ravenstone, they might have the best fiefs in the entire mod. I think they might have the best fiefs in the entire mod, which is really strange to say, because I thought these guys would be... well, I didn't think they'd be easy, because let's face it, they do have Ravenstone Rangers, but I thought they would be much easier than they are. I mean, just look at the Fierdsvain, right? Look at the Fierdsvain. They are so easy in comparison to the Ravenstone. We ended up losing basically no one when fighting against the Fierdsvain. But fighting against these guys is a completely different ball game, and I'm actually surprised. I am actually really surprised because, as I said to you earlier in the series, I personally believe that the Ravenstern are good. Don't get me wrong; they've got great units, but they. I thought they would be pretty simple, you know. I thought that the Empire or the Shah or even the Fierdsvane would be the most difficult for us to deal with, and I thought that the Ravenstern would be somewhere around the middle, you know. And I thought Sarlian would be the easiest, and they weren't, clearly. So yeah, it's actually quite funny what ends up happening when you make these predictions earlier on, because I think that Fierdsvane, they were the easiest for us to deal with all of our ranged troops. Their fiefs are very poorly laid out. That's the main deal there. You know, their fiefs are very weak in comparison to the others, and that's exactly what is happening with why they just died so incredibly easily in comparison to you know, other other factions. It's actually quite staggering, to be honest, for me. Okay, so there you go. We did end up taking it, and let's see, what are we going to do? Give it to Sigismund, I suppose. And we'll go into the marketplace. We'll just sell a couple of things here. I have to try and keep up my my wages, so I'm trying to sell at least around 1,500 to 2,000 per day. And that should be enough to kind of tide us over until the end of the series, potentially. Very much depends, obviously, on what happens there. And let's see here. We're just going to buy a little bit of food. We'll go into the tavern just in case we do have a companion that is potentially available. No, there isn't anything. Okay, so this is where we currently are, and this is what's currently going on in terms of the map. Now, bear in mind, we are actually at war against the Dashar. The Dashar decided that they wanted to declare war on us, which is absolutely fine for them to do. I don't have a problem with that. And yeah, Poinsbrook is the only town remaining for the Ravenstern. I actually have a bad feeling that this is going to be quite difficult. As you can see, there are huge amounts of vassals, like I said to you before, right outside here. And I'm not... Are they actually... Is this guy actually deciding that he wants to defend Poinsbrook? If he wants to defend Poinsbrook, this might be a bit of a difficult... actually, maybe not. These guys all have around 100 units. This shouldn't be too bad. Oh, there's Wolfbode. Oh no, are you serious? Wolfbode is literally standing right here? That is so funny. Okay, we can only hope that maybe he's going to leave me alone. Yeah, it looks like he is going to leave me alone. But there are so many vassals in here. Oh dear. Yeah, this is a classic situation for me. Because now look. Oh no, Wolfbode. Why are you like this? Why is he like this? No, well, never mind. Okay, I am going to go to the nearby castle then. Oh, never mind. Apparently there is a... Oh dear, Mist Mountain Army. Oh, this is awful. Oh wow, this is very bad, actually. Yeah, and there's Q to the Ravager. Why are there so many unique spawns in this area? I don't know, but yeah, let's just see what happens, because, yep, no, he's actually wanting to attack me. So we are going to run away from this guy. Wow, okay, talk about unlucky, huh? Talk about unlucky, because I was kind of hoping that we would be left alone completely by pretty much everyone. And, yeah, clearly that is not the case. Clearly we are having some big issues here, and Wolfbode is still standing around here. I gotta say, I'm not entirely sure. What is he doing? Look at that! What is this Ravenstern vassal doing? They should go in and fight him. They should just go in and fight Wolfbode so that I can take the, take the fief. Thank you very much. Yeah, so it seems like we are going to have a little bit of a detour here, which isn't that bad because I don't think we've spent a huge amount of time so far really doing anything of note. Yeah, we did lose Centerfall. As I said to you before, it's actually not that big a deal if we lose any fiefs. I am able to take them back really easily, so it's not that much of a problem. Anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.